Hey guys, this is William from PropertyBuddy. Today we would like to do some sharing. It's just merely on our own sharing lah, for our initiative. In fact, this is actually started off for our own use basis, but we think that it could be also beneficial for people like employees and also business owners, because initially we are, as a business owner, we were looking at the current situation where we have very limited movement, very restricted with a lot of appointments, meetup. Things are very much impacted. I believe it would be happening in a lot of other business, including retails, airline, tourism, hotel, Airbnb, and so on. So we would think that how can we find out more about the situation to understand it? How does it impact us? Is there any other strategies that we can take on to improve? Is there any other opportunities that we are looking at that we want to tap on during this tough ride? So we would like to do a short sharing. In fact, this would be the first quarterly outlook sharing that we have ever done. So let's go to our first slide. We are currently going through an era, an unprecedented era that we call the Great Lockdown. So the Great Lockdown comes from the word that currently everywhere we are experiencing lockdown. So first quarter, what has happened? We will be covering a snapshot what we are going through right now, how serious it is, this problem is causing us, and then is there a recovery? How fast would it be? How can we understand based on the past crisis, the past outbreaks like SARS, how long did it took to recover? And what are the changes that we will be anticipating or expecting coming in 6 months, 9 months, or even 1 to 2 years down the road? So let's go through this. In a mere 2 months to 3 months, we have very big major changes, including government, the political turmoil that happens in February. On 24th, Tun Mahathir resigned. On 1st, the 8th Prime Minister, our PM Muhyiddin, was sworn in. And then on 22nd of January, we have an OPR cut. And that OPR cut cuts to 2.75 is one of the lowest since March 2011. And then in a mere short time frame, we have another OPR cut, another 25 basis point cut to 2.5, which is a decade low. The last time when we cut to 2.5 was in May 2010. And then subsequently, Bank Negara announced again, there's a cut in statutory reserve requirement, SRR. What does it mean? It means indirectly, in a layman terms, when you cut that requirement, bank need to put lesser money as a reserve, which also mean that the bank can lend more money out to the market so that it improves the liquidity, so that people have better cash flow. And on between 5 to 19, KL Composite Index dropped 18%. We have never had this steep drop since the subprime crisis in 2008. And then this is a very tough movement, because as we are going through COVID, the oil price is also interrelated, because there is not much of movement going on. The demand for oil is also very low. And due to the supply or the production of oil is still ongoing, the oil price dropped to 20 over USD per barrel, which is one of the lowest over the time. And we will be comparing this to the previous crisis. How serious it is, what we are going through right now with these two major shocks, the COVID-19 and also the oil price. So on 24th of March, Bank Negara made an announcement saying that we will have a loan installment deferment automatically for 6 months from April up to September. So you only resume to pay your loan starting October 2020. And then in 16th of March, our PM announced we are going to have for the first MCO, movement control order, starting 18. So now we are already at the third. Will be ending soon, and hopefully we don't need MCO4. We will be also discussing the possibility of having MCO4 or not in our slides. And then across the time, we have 3 stimulus being announced. The first one was 20 billion. The second one was the very huge stimulus, 250 billion for various sectors, various services, to ensure that things are sustainable. A lot of subsidies being put into this stimulus. And then because of the 27 March stimulus wasn't focused too much on SMEs, there's a lot of feedback and noises coming up. The government decided to have another stimulus for especially to focus on SMEs, which amounting up to 10 billion. So now what we are going through includes recently the oil price contracts. The oil price contract that are due in April drops to a record low of negative 37 US dollar, because production is still going on. The supply is too much. The demand for oil is very low. No one is using oil. So when no one is using oil, the storage is running out. When you keep producing, the storage is running out. So no place to store. You have so much of stock now. So that is why the oil price dropped to a record low. We have never ever seen oil price, although it's a contract, but it's actually the same thing, because when this oil price is ready, if you don't extend the contracts, right, you have to take the physical delivery, which means you need to take the oil and store it somewhere. That's why the oil price dropped to negative. And then for the past 5 days, it is a very good news that Malaysia start to announce that we have only the double-digit COVID new cases. So are we going into a reducing trend where it looks positive that we may not need MCO 4.0? Then we also did a little bit more research and findings to see what are the possible expectation that we should have when we end MCO, when MCO has been uplifted. What are the things that may change? What are the things that will still stay on? For example, like, would there be more stimulus coming up? Would there be more interest cut coming up? Would the oil supply be controlled so that the oil price can regain back to a more sustainable price point? Would the market KLCI or the global index regain traction and go back to the pre-crisis level, the pre-COVID crisis level, or the pre-oil price crisis level in a shorter time? Or how long does it take to actually recover from this kind of crisis? So if you were to be like, want to find out more about this, just let me take you through to the subsequent slide. So why is that so important to highlight about COVID in our slide? Especially this is like a market outlook. COVID is playing a very serious role in, not just in Malaysia, it's actually the whole world. Everywhere is affected by COVID, and a lot of lockdown, a lot of restriction of movement is going on. So from here, we can see during the first phase and second phase, we have never seen any double-digit cases before. And in the third phase, it looks like it's going to a downtrend from here. So hopefully that we may not need MCO4 based on the downtrend, but the chances is very low, because why? When there is still cases, active cases, there's chances of infection as well. So to take up MCO, the chances to take up MCO there's a risk. If we prematurely take out MCO and the infection still goes on, there would be another wave. And the third wave, during the first wave, we got 22 cases. This is the second wave. All this is a second wave. So if we didn't control it well and it goes into third phase, that means all our first 3 MCO is just wasted. It's just gone down to the drain. We wasted a lot of time, effort, money, resources just to probably be premature. So I was thinking that if MCO were to retain, we have MCO for what are the things or decisions we should make as an employee, as a business owner, as a parent, or from the government's point of view, as a frontliner. So what are the things that we should re-strategize? So let's start off with the impact of COVID and oil price. Oil price, you can see a 70 years historical chart. Never once there's only once that we dropped so low. 1998, the Asian financial crisis. During that time, the oil price dropped to 17.66 US dollar per barrel, and now we are somewhere around 20. And because Malaysia is very much dependent, our budget, our balance sheet is very much dependent on oil price. So if oil price is so low, our revenue is seriously affected. That's first shock of the market. The second one would be about the COVID. We see how COVID impact for China. They have not been stopping growing for the past 28 years. For the past 28 years, you dated back all the way to 1990 plus 1992. They have not have one time, not even a single time, they have negative growth in their GDP. And you see how serious COVID-19 has brought to China. How about US? You can see all the main indexes, the big indexes, easily like 20%, 25%, 30% drop in just a mere 2-3 months, or even just 2 months. How about Europe? Same thing. Europe have minimum drop of 30%, some even up to 36%. So you can see how serious the impact of COVID-19 is. Just not just affecting one country like SARS. Last time it was domestically affected, like China, Singapore, Hong Kong, but now it's like everywhere. Comparing to the global financial crisis, last time it took 188 days for S&P 500 to drop into bear market. What is bear market? Bear market, that means a market drop from the previous high, drop minimum 20%. That is the definition of bear market. So you see how fast COVID-19 can make S&P 500 drop into a bear market in just 16 days, 10 times faster than the previous financial crisis. And how is it different or similar to the financial crisis? This is not a financial crisis. We are not having something like very high unemployment, very high default rates. We are literally having a healthcare crisis instead of a financial crisis, and it affects the whole world. That's why the impact is so serious and fast. You can see this COVID-19 affects, and in terms of unemployment, for the past, you dated back all the way to 1970s, US have never ever gone past 2% unemployment rate. And you see during this 2020, the great lockdown, it is 22 million jobless, which is contributing to 6.7% of their population. It's almost like 5 times more than any other recession or financial crisis that US has ever encountered. You can see how big the impact is. How about other countries like Chile, Burkina, Taiwan, Australia? This one is the historical average of US unemployment. they have been like there 200,000, 300,000 unemployments, and during a short point of time from March to April, they have recorded 22 million unemployment job loss, because in US there's unemployment claims if you don't have a job. So there's 22 million claims for people out of job. So you can see how serious it is, because compared to the past, it's only like 200,000, 300,000. This is like so many times more. So when there's an unemployment, people they don't have money. The market is not moving. So naturally, it will impact a lot of things. Impact a lot of things. They are spending, their loan repayment, and so on and so on. So when it comes back to Malaysia, what are we going through in the past? We have the Asian financial crisis. We have the dot-com crisis in 2001. We have the SARS crisis in 2003. We have the subprime crisis in 2007, 2008. So all these, of course, Asian financial crisis has the most impact. With KLCI dropped almost 80%, from 1261 to 300. Then the second highest was the dot-com. The third highest was global financial crisis. And you can see, if there is a drop or recession or crisis not based on financial or systemic issue like SARS, the drop is not that huge. So as compared to this, you see, global financial crisis, we use about 1,088 days to recover from the moment the drop starts until we recover back to the previous high, to the previous crisis level. It took about 1,888. And during that time, we have a stagnant period, which the market didn't go up that much for about 141 days, which is about 4 to 5 months. The drop took us about 288 days, almost a year. 288 days, about 10 months. And then it stayed there for another 4 to 5 months before it slowly recovered back. So from 6th of January 2008 until 26th of December 2020. So this is like a U-shaped recession. So what's the impact of SARS to KLCI? You can see that from 2002, 21st of April, it took 168 days to drop, and then we stay there for about 210 days. 210 divided by 30 is about 7 months. And then subsequently, it took another 169 days. So you can see the drop and the recovery are pretty much similar. When you look back at the historical chart or historical price, it took about the same duration for the drop to happen and recover back to the same point. So if we were to see a pre-crisis level is 800. So after that, when it recovered, it went back to 800. Then the total period it took is 547 days. Although in other market, how SARS impact to the other market or other country may differ, but what we are looking at is also specifically focused into our own market, in Malaysia market. So what is the impact of COVID-19 to Malaysia? This is the chart of KLCI for the past 2 years, from 2018 April 22nd up to current today, 23rd of April 2020. So we actually have been in the downward trend already, but the downward trend is reducing gradually, unlike this highlighted area. This highlighted area drops steeply. And why does it drop so steeply? It could be triggered by 2 or 3 things. The first one, political instability. But is it the most major killer? It may be not. It could be due to the oil price. It could be due to the COVID-19. Let's zoom in into this area. So when you zoom into this area from the January up to now, April, you can see that we have been through a government change in 24th of February. 1st of March, we have a new PM. And then in 5th of March, the index was 1491. Subsequently, within just a mere like 15 days point, it drops for 18%. Drops to below 1300 points. And then it took us about 32 days from 19th March to 20th of April to recover back to 1004. And now it dropped back to 1003 a little bit. So you can see if we learn what we learned from the global financial crisis and the SARS, this is more relatable to SARS because it's a similar disease outbreak. But how fast can we recover from the pre-crisis level 1004 after COVID has after we actually managed to handle COVID? In terms of unemployment, we are not really as serious as US. For the past like 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, our unemployment is kept around 3.4 to 3.6%. So if we able to keep our unemployment rate low, the market will be still very rigid and strong and sustainable. So how about the recovery path? We will have to look what is the impact of COVID-19 to KLCI. It took 14 days for the drop to happen. But until now, we are not seeing a V-shaped rebound, which means very fast go down, and then the next thing, it didn't stay down there for long. It straight away go up. Yeah, we went up to 1413, but we did not go back to the pre-crisis level. There's two parts of this story. During this time, we are still in MCO. It is positive that we are still in MCO, the market still rebound back. So that means it tells us that during this period, they are actually panic selling. People oversold, and then subsequently the market got up back to 1004. But on this area, I'm very interested on this area. How fast or would it be possible for us to reach back to the pre-crisis level of like 15 or 14 index? How many days it takes? Then we will also have to look into why I'm showing this figure. You can see how intensive US and China is world trading partners. So as the first and the second largest economy, how does it impact to us or any other country? Because COVID-19 is not just Malaysia issue, it's an everywhere issue. If everywhere else, our neighbor, whoever it is, having issue, our trading partners will directly impact the company, the country's growth. China largest trading partner is US, and currently US has the most serious COVID cases. So if US is not doing well, do you think China will do well? Who will be buying 418 billion of goods from China? Then how about US? How about Malaysia? Malaysia is a net export country. Even though if we have zero COVID cases, also, we will not rebound straight away back to the pre-crisis level because we have China as our trading partners, we have Singapore as our trading partners, we have US. The top three are very important trading partners for us because they contribute to a lot, easily 10% of our GDP. So if the other countries or other neighbors are not doing well, how would we be doing well? So that means these are the things that we actually need to take into consideration. It will not be a quick recovery. And then would there be further OPR cuts? We don't know, but we may know in the coming month, in the May. So historically, from 2004 to 2020, our lowest point that we get is during the subprime crisis, where we dropped OPR to 2%. So currently we are at 2.5. There's a 2 cuts in the early of the year, January and March, and now we are at 2.5. So would there be a further cuts? Possibly, because look, previously we are also, the lowest that we have gone through is 2%. So we likely will see whether there will be an announcement for further rate cuts or not in May. So you look at the interest rate changes. For interest rate changes, we see a pattern over, this is the interest rate, this is the KLCI. So whenever there's a crisis, there will be rate cuts. So the rate cuts, there is 3 times rate cuts happening during the subprime financial crisis, and subsequently during the recovery, there is also 3 times rate hike, which also during that time was the bull run for KLCI and also the property market. And now we are somewhere around here. We have also similarly 3 interest rate cut, which contribute to current our BLR to 6.15. So does this suggest that we will be having a bull market or a bull run soon? We are not sure, but the pattern is suggesting so. So we look at also the recovery path for airlines when SARS happened in 2003. So from 0 months to somewhere around here, it took about 6 to 7 months for the situation, for the market to recover back to the pre-outbreak levels. But SARS is only very domestic to certain countries. What we are looking now at COVID is way more serious than SARS. So if SARS took about 7 months, how long do you think COVID-19 will take? And then we look back at this graph. Yes, we are going for a downtrend of the new cases reported every day, but is it sufficient to remove MCO? Based on the numbers as of up to yesterday, it is very positive, is progressing. From the MCO1, the MCO2, we never seen any decreasing trend of the number of new cases. Up to the 3rd MCO, yes, we start to see an improvement, but somehow the numbers are still not low enough, because as long as there's active cases, there's chances, there's risk of infection, and it could also contribute to the 3rd wave. And if it comes to the 3rd wave, it means literally your MCO1, MCO2, MCO3 are wasted, gone down the drain, because and so much time, effort, money, a lot of business got impacted. People are not able to operate, not able to open, need to take unpaid leave lah, pay cuts lah, no unpaid lah. So hopefully, because now it's already 23rd. If we were to project it until 28th, there is just a couple days more. Even 23rd, we have 0 case. We don't have long enough data to justify for a removal of MCO. So chances is, I think I'm not sure. Hopefully there's no MCO, of course, but I think MCO4 may happen. That day I just gone through one article by this professor in I think Oriental Daily. he says that property, there's a potential drop. Let me translate it into English. There's a potential drop of housing prices by 70%. So it's reported on newspaper. So is this something something that you can trust? Is it a reliable source of information? So we don't want to comment too much, but let us share with you our findings and you make your own view about it. So it says that why property will drop is because of the affordability. So let's say that you have a 1 million property. If there's no people want to buy from you, chances is you have to drop the price. And if there's someone who offered you 400,000 or 300,000, based on the affordability, you have to sell that property that worth that you bought 1 million at a price of around 300,000 to 400,000. So does this make sense? Will property price drop as much as 70%? So let's see in few different areas. So the first thing that we want to see is the macro view in terms of the country GDP, in terms of the unemployment rate of the country, in terms of the income level of the population, in terms of the loan approval rate, and of course the ever bothering issue, the overhang properties, because the supply is too high, or maybe it's just due to mismatch of supply and demand. It contributes to a lot of unsold properties which subsequently became overhang. And of course we have also other views that we want to put into this perspective. In terms of the seller's view, in terms of if I own a property, and I see that kind of article, shit lah, oh shit kind of moments, you see that, wait, property, I bought it at 500,000, now you are telling me I can only sell 150,000? Fuck way. Then, in terms of the buyer's view, definitely, you see if you drop 70%, you are damn happy to say, take my money, give me 10 units, whatever you can see over the comments in various social media. So would these kind of things happen or not? Is this kind of projection or view accurate? So let's go to the next slide. In terms of GDP forecast, Malaysia will have negative 4.6 GDP. That means our country will not be doing that well this year. And then in terms of Bank Negara forecast will be somewhere around negative. So I won't comment much about why the percentage of World Bank is negative 4.6 and then Bank Negara is negative 2. Maybe Bank Negara would know how well the local market and economy gonna grow. So even if you take a negative number, what does that mean? For the past years, we have been still growing for like 4%, 5%, 4%, 5%. Only this year, we are dropping it to 0.5 to negative 2. So what does that mean? That means that the economy, the market is not growing. Chances is, when the market is not growing, chances is probably people would take a more cautious way to spend, to buy anything, to invest into new things, or to expand your business, to hire more people, to run on more projects. So that's natural. So whether price will drop, yes, definitely this contributes to a drop in price when the GDP of the countries is having a negative growth. And then second thing is definitely is employment. Definitely is employment, because if you're unemployed or you have the risk of unemployment, definitely you will be more cautious about doing anything, buying a car, buying a house, and so on. And then the third area is definitely about income level. Income level, we have three categories. People may already used to it, like B40, M40, and T20. So you got to understand at different state got different income level or income group. Like for example, KL, Selangor would definitely have a higher income group. They are middle 40. Middle 40 is about 8,800. The T20 is about 20 over 1,000 per month household income. So this will also contribute to the the property demand and property price. If you have higher income, definitely you can afford higher price property, right? Then the next one will be coming into loan approval rate. Why property price will go down, or why property demand will go down, or property transaction? I won't say the demand, because as you can see here, loan applied is actually increasing over the years. It has not like dropping significantly. Whereas the approval rate, that means the loan approved divided by the loan applied, is actually on the decreasing trend, from 61% drop to 39%. So when that happens, what does that mean? When you still have even though you still have demand for properties, the approval rate drop. That means people is getting harder to buy properties. So when people is getting harder to buy properties, it means the property demand will also be lower. When property demand will be lower, the supply stay the same, or even worse, when we have more supply with all the overhang and so units, property price will definitely drop. But would it drop 70%? We will have to see. We have to go through the other slides. Okay, across the like 20, 30 years, is there any drop in price in terms of the Malaysia housing price index? There's only 2 years. There's only 2 years that we recorded a drop, which is in Asian financial crisis, 1998 and 1999. We recorded 2 years of drop, negative 9.5 and negative 2.4%. And for the rest of the year, from 1988 up to 2018, despite there are some years which has a bull run like 2011 to 2013, we have double-digit growth, and the rest could be as low as like 1%, 2%. But there's only one time that we recorded a drop, and the drop did not record something like what has been claimed in the newspaper as high as 70%. So this is the first area we look at. It is statistically not possible to have something drop negative 70% if we compare to the housing price index that we have since 1988 up to 2018. So that's another way to look at it, which is also covering, would as a investor or a property buyer or a landlord, what kind of property will drop in price? How do I understand and take a more initiative, a proactive way to ensure that my property doesn't drop so much, or my property still has the value to be able to sustain, or it doesn't drop at all? So of course, this is also covered in our other sharings, the top 7 criteria. Property price will drop, but what are the properties which will be still sustained? It may not drop much, or it may just retain back at their current market value. The price is still at the market value. So of course, these 7 criteria, we will not be going down to do very detailed. We will not go down very detailed, but just a quick run through. Price, you need to ensure that you don't buy whatever it is, a sub-sale, auction, undercon. Make sure you don't buy something above market value. The best is you buy something below market value, like 10%, 20%, because you only make when you buy, not when you sell. The second thing is about unique selling proposition. Something like as an individual or business, what are the most special thing about the property that people want to stay there or rent from there? The third thing is about catalyst. Catalyst could be infrastructures or amenities, which means it could be a direct link to a shopping mall. It could be a direct link to a LRT station or an MRT station. The fourth thing would be about the target market. If the more target market that more market or more population that you can target your property to, the chances of you being able to sell and rent is also higher. the more restriction that you have. For example, your property can only do A, B, and B, or your property only can do student population. There's no other types of tenants or buyer will be buying from you because you are very restricted to only one source of tenant or one source of buyer. The fifth one would be rentability. Same concept like the target market. If you buy a property that can only make sense, that can only make sense when you do A, B, and B, that is not a good property. That is not a good property, I repeat. You have to buy something which is versatile, which is flexible, which you can target many other target market. It includes a rental, includes our own stay, includes a mass market, includes of affluent market or expats. The six things would be ensure that you buy a property that gives you good cash flow. There's no point investing into something, any product, be it a REIT, be it a unit trust, be it a property. Invest something that gives you cash flow as well. There's no point buying something that gives you negative cash flow for say 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road. You are not making money. When you have negative cash flow, that means you have a negative DSR, and it will also impact your opportunity. You have opportunity cost. You can't actually tap into any other opportunity that comes along your way if your cash flow is not in a healthy level. I won't say it would. I would say that buying a property that you can have break-even cash flow or positive cash flow within like 3 to 5 years time is definitely better than buying a property that gives you negative cash flow a lot. The first thing is negative a lot, and then it takes you many years, and you may not even know whether you can have positive cash flow or break-even cash flow. Then the 7 things is about time to maturity. How long does it take for the product that you invest in to mature and give you capital gains and give you better rental and give you cash flow? For example, you buy into an area, that area is heavily dependent on the infrastructure upgrades or the major business development that gonna be bringing in more higher income group to stay there. That means you are depending on the move-in population. When it comes to move-in population, then it's not there, right? You can only restrict to the ceiling rental or the ceiling selling price that you can have at that area. So to be more proactive, you also have to be you also have to increase to be more. You also have to like improve your property selection skills as well. And in this slide, just wanted to show there's a pattern in the interest rate changes. You can see the last time before the bull run, there's a pattern of like interest rate reduction for 3 times, and during 2008 to 2009, and subsequently when the market recovers, the interest hike during that time where the property bull run took place, property price gone up by double digit every year for 3 years, for 2 years consecutively, and the third year was 9.7%. So currently what we are going through is a little bit similar. We also have 3 cuts. So does that signal that there will be a boom market or a bull market coming in? By looking at the overall outlook, we don't think that the bull run or the boom run will happen that soon, because COVID-19 is gonna be there for some time. It is affecting a lot of other countries. So even Malaysia has 0 case today. our market or our economy would not be just go up that way. We still depending on a lot of other trading partners. When they do well, then only we can do well. We can't be just isolate ourselves. We will do well without caring about other people. So looking at the chart, the property market cycle, the property market cycle in the past, currently we are here. Currently we are at this. So let's say if this cycle, so what will happen next so that we can actually re-strategize to sustain our business, to sustain ourselves during the tough period, and what kind of opportunity that we can actually expect and foresee. If we were to put this into the future, if the market cycle in the future starting from 2020, let's say I put 2020, and based on the past crisis lessons that we learned from SARS, we learned from Asian global financial crisis, it took, if we take it at face value, it took 1.5 years to 3 years to fully recover to the pre-crisis level. So it also suggests that we would have a time where the mid-cycle dip, or a time where the economy will stay stagnant. It doesn't shoot up fast. During that time, the market, I can compare to this. This is how COVID impact KLCI. The drop is fast, but would the rebound be fast? It doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it. So that is why we are expecting something like between 1.5 years to 3 years for the market to recover. And during this time, we still have a very low market sentiment. People are very cautious about spending, whatever it is, spending on non-essential items, spending on investment, business expansion, hiring more staff, taking on more projects. So during this period, we could be expecting more interest cuts, maybe. We could be expecting the government to announce to roll out more stimulus or more quantitative easing, to not to actually just boost the liquidity of the market, but also to sustain and subsidize a lot of impacted business during this COVID-19. Then after like 1.5 years to 2 years, or maybe 3 years, then we will start seeing some improvement to the market. That time we could be seeing something like a political stability, because there would be a general election 15 within 2 years plus time. And then subsequently, if it's coupled with a lot of other friendlier government policies in terms of tax structure, subsidies and stimulus, so on, revival of some super mega projects, really mega projects that create a lot of job opportunity, create a lot of liquidity into the market. The market sentiment improves. That will be a very good market sentiment, and maybe couple up with some series of interest hike during that time. During that time, we might see something like a boom market in 2022 or maybe 2023 until 2025. Maybe we wouldn't know, but we just trying to understand based on the previous pattern, how do we strategize, how do we make better decision, how do we make better decision on the current issue, and what are the opportunities that we can tap into. So the last part of our slide would be about new normal, a term which we have never been hearing that we have never heard of at all. But now new normal is getting more common and more common. And in fact, COVID has pushed through a lot of digitalization. So it impacts a lot. Even from at home, you can also see a lot of other auntie, uncle are actually learning how to buy groceries over WhatsApp. There's a major changing in terms of the way that you spend money, the way that you buy things. So it will be same for any other business model, business operation will change. For example, F&B, now the Grab, the Food Panda, the services that links a lot of F&B merchants, so that to ensure that their business still able to run. Things like grocer, Tesco, Giant Grocer, My Grocer, Happy Fresh, they have been doing deliveries all this while. So this is a really good time. That imagine if you are running a grocery store and you do not have this kind of channel to sell your stuff, literally you have close to zero income. And things like property sectors, agency whereby they do sub sales and projects, you can't even go for viewing during the MCO period. You can't even bring someone to go to the property sales gallery. How you want to do closing? How do you want to convince? How do you want to do presentation so that the customer will be convinced, will be able to make a buying decision during movement control order or even after movement control orders? It is, and then subsequently we also see things like financial institution. COVID has put a really good, in a positive way, put a really good thread to speed up digitalization. Whether it is whatever it is, like financial product, it could be banking, it could be insurance. So COVID changes the way we spend, we consume things. That's why you can see those digital services like Netflix, Netflix and Zoom, their market share has grown tremendously, significantly during just for the past 2 to 3 months. So COVID indeed play a role to actually break up a lot of past norms, unconventional ways of working, doing business, consuming things, into e-commerce, into digital banks, digital financial products and services, into e-wallet. So to us, is also a very big reminder that we never ever can ignore or neglect the power of digitalization, includes digital marketing. It is not a key that you want to master or not. It is the key skill set that you need to master. I'm not telling this to you. In fact, we are actually reminding ourselves as well. During this period, we can't conduct any workshop. We can't conduct any presentation face-to-face, that which we used to do. We can't even run our renovation and design company operation at all during this movement control. So what are the things that we can tap into? What are the other source of incomes that we can tap into? What are the skill set that we can look into to increase our income, to increase the other form of income that for the business. So with that, we would like to end our sharing here today. I hopefully that this kind of perspective helps and beneficial to you. Let us know if this helps by commenting in the comment box below, so that we can do more sharing, more findings, or more analysis in this area, so that it could also be a very good reminder for us. If you find that this sharing is really useful for you, and it could be useful and valuable for some other peoples, please help us out to share this video to your friend, tag them in, tag 1 or 2 friends in as well, so that it is a time whereby although we cannot meet, but we realize that we are stronger apart when our hearts unite. So I think that's all for the sharing today. I will see you around. Hopefully it would not take too long before we come up with another video. We are trying to do probably a short video every week, and a video like this on a quarterly basis. So hope to see you soon. Once again, thanks for your time. Stay home, stay safe. I hope things will be better after MCO. Ciao. See ya. Bye bye.